This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeremy Wolf.
Well, hello, friends, family, wonderful community, great universe. We are back for another installment of the Good Neighbor Podcast. So our guest today, I met recently at a local networking group in Cooper City. And we went out and had a cup of coffee, sat down. And I must say, I was very impressed with how he's running his business, the vision he has for his business. And anytime I encounter a local business owner that I feel would be a valuable resource to folks in and around the community, well, you know me, I always like to extend the olive branch, have them on the show to learn a little bit more about their story. So without further ado, I bring to you Javier Hernandez with Lime Painting. Javier, pleasure having you on the show, brother. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy, for the opportunity. I'm thrilled to be here. So thanks again for inviting me to join the show.
Of course. So let's get into this. Tell me a little bit about the business, Lime Painting. I know it's we've talked briefly about it before. Is a franchise model. You just recently got into it, but tell us a little bit about what you do, and we'll go from there.
A little bit about us here at Lime Painting. So for us, Lime is a high-end residential and commercial painting and surface restoration company. We specialized in special coatings, in surface restoration, in projects where homeowners and property managers, typically want things done correctly and the right way from the beginning. With a lot of attention to detail, preparation, craftsmanship. Looking for long-term durability. For us here in South Florida, homes usually go through a lot of sun, humidity, salt air, with all the storms that we get here. So painting for us here is just more than cosmetic. Right. So it's actually about just protecting the surfaces, maintaining the properties well, to help things. We could help with things like exterior and interior painting, stucco and drywall repairs. We do epoxy floorings. We can also help out with cabinet refinishings. We can also do specialty coatings, as we call them. So it's like things like lime wash, something that we could also help out with. So, and a big part of the process for us here is also educating, homeowners, right, and business owners. So usually they don't realize the level of preparation that's really recommended and needed to get a good paint job to last us, a good 7 to 10 years, so that you don't have to keep repainting all the time, right? So, it's our goal is to work on that, to provide that for customers, especially for our climates here. So, and at the same time, trying to deliver a good luxury level of experience for customers, where communication is clear, the job sites are clean. At the end of the day, we tie things up. So. And the final result is something that they can, feel really good about, and it elevates the whole experience for them.
Yeah, man, absolutely. As you're talking there, I'm thinking about how, like nowadays, with the abundance of resources available out there when it comes to these types of projects, and like any project for that matter, everybody's like a DIY warrior, right? Everybody could do things themselves, but I could see a scenario where somebody, especially like for the external painting, in Florida, like you mentioned, with the weather and everything, I could see a scenario where you look at the project, I'll just do this myself, and you don't pay the attention to detail, right? You don't take the proper steps and measures, or you just miss a couple things here and there, and that can cause you to ultimately, like you said, maybe need to repaint the house sooner than you would otherwise if you just did it right in the first place. And I know for me, I always like to just defer to professionals. I'm not really a DIY person myself. I try to be with like little projects and things like that, but anytime there's a bigger type project, like I want to have somebody like yourself, right? Not just in painting, but like everything, like a contractor, financial advisor, all these different areas of life. I want to have a go-to expert that I know, like, and trust, that I feel comfortable with, that I could just say, hey, like, what do you think we should do? Like, I don't want to get into all that's not my area of specialty. I think a lot of people are like that. And then you have a lot of people that think they're DIY warriors and then just do a half-assed job and then need to redo it in the end anyway.
Absolutely. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. So 100%.
Yeah. And so I want to talk a little bit about the model of lime painting, because I know you, if I'm not mistaken, you just got involved with the franchise recently, maybe sometime last year. Is that right?
Yeah, so we actually just initiated the business at the middle of last year. So
Okay.
and we've been active with the business ever since. So part of actually Lime is, it's a national brand, so it's a national company.
How many
So
locations do they have, and where do they operate ultimately? Like are they mostly down here in South Florida, or is it scattered all over the
no,
place?
yeah, absolutely. So we're all over the country. So our corporate office, actually our home office, as we call it, is located in Denver,
Okay.
Colorado. So but we have presence everywhere. So
And how long has Lime been around for? When did they start the brand?
yeah, so the brand initiated back in I believe 2014, and they've been
Oh,
active
wow.
since then. That's just as a franchise company, right? So before, but the business itself and the experience that they before they created the actual franchise, it's been way longer than that. So
Beautiful. All right. So they had the model down, and then they really started getting into trying to expand it through the franchise model back in 2014. So about 12 years, and you're getting into it. And one of the things that impressed me a lot about you when we spoke is that even having just started the business about a year ago, the way you were thinking about the business, the way you were thinking about the marketing, thinking about the level of service, it struck me as being very, very professional, being very organized, and really trying to, like you said, that luxury experience that you're trying to give customers. I got that from the way you spoke about the business. So I was really, really taken back, because you don't see that in a lot of like new business owners. I think that's one of the benefits of getting involved with a franchise, because a lot of the bones and the structure are already in place. You don't have to build it all again from the ground up.
absolutely, those are great points. Yeah, totally. We agree 100%. So yeah, that's we feel the same way. So and that's the good thing about just getting together with a franchise, right? So they've gone through all of the different hurdles and setbacks, and they learn from it, and then they just kind of provide you with a roadmap that you can follow with the different rails for you to stay within the road type of thing, and just follow that process to achieve success as quickly as possible, right?
Absolutely, man. So before you got I want to talk now about how you made the decision to get into this particular business. What does your background look like leading up to this? Was this your first foray into the world of entrepreneurism, or is that a word, entrepreneurship? Or is this just another in a series of business ventures that you had? What does your professional journey look like that led you up to this point that you decided that you wanted to get involved with Lime?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jeremy. So yeah, I mean, a little bit about basically my journey and why I got this business started. So my background has always been very entrepreneurial, I would say. So I'm coming in from I always been drawn to businesses where you can solve real issues for people in the community like this, right? So I mean, homes that's very close to us, or properties, you really want to make sure that that's really well taken care of, and that actually impacts you very, very closely. So we so that's kind of what we try to achieve, based on my background. Just I always had that itch that I kind of wanted to get into something like that, where I can build that real impact for our local community. So that's why we decided to build something meaningful for our communities here. So and I came across Lime painting. So that really stood out to me, the way that they approach their business, and the focus that they have on on attention to detail and craftsmanship and professionalism, and in an industry that sometimes services industries, it's kind of tough to come across that sometimes.
Yeah, really hit or miss out there with a lot of service professionals are very fly by night, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, and painting, is one of the most visible parts of a property too. It creates that impact right away, such a dramatic change as you can have on your property at such a low entry level, barrier entry there for when you consider that, expenses and costs and how much it could be to just make that happen, so much of an impact for so low investment. So it's the most, kind of visible part of the home as well. So so that's why we kind of decided to just kind of, we like the idea to go into this and help out our communities that way, right? So I saw an opportunity to bring a more structured professional approach basically to the industry here in South Florida. So that's why we basically decided to launch line painting for us here in Miami. So when I was building the company, the idea was just something that we could provide an elevated, trustworthy experience for customers and a good final product that, customers could feel proud about.
Mm. You mentioned the word community multiple times. I think that's so incredibly important. One of the things that I think a lot of people are missing in their lives is a sense of community. Nowadays, I say this all the time with social media and electronic devices, everybody's so detached. But like everybody has a longing for a home, right? For a sense of community. And I think that local businesses that are really plugged in and integrated in local communities and really are present and do a lot to give back, really help the lifeblood of these local communities. So I just wanted to touch on that. I think community is essential nowadays.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, everything that we do is just for our community, really. So, getting involved with the community is super important here. So is, just making sure that we understand better what the local community needs are, and then just making sure that we can just, create a level of service that can satisfy all of that for them, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about going into business, and maybe they're looking into potentially the franchise model. I want you to speak to somebody like that for a moment and let them know what the biggest challenge that you faced was in launching this business. And then on the other side of that, what's been one of the biggest rewards now that you have launched the business and you got things going?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, in my particular scenario, this is actually my first business that I opened up and as a franchise and in painting, right? So maybe, some of the things that that I could say, I wish maybe more, I don't know if other business owners would know, or just maybe customers in general, but yeah. And then again, in my particular scenario, which is painting, right? So I wish maybe that more homeowners could realize, the potential for painting to dramatically increase their values for their properties, and increase the actual longevity of their homes too, right? Because I mean, when it's done correctly, a high quality exterior coating doesn't just make the house look beautiful, but it also could protect it, right, from the elements. Especially for us here with so much moisture in the air and UV damages and the sun and all of that. So it could protect it from deterioration long term. So and that's kind of what we concentrate on a lot here in Lime. So just making sure that we approach projects more like a surface restoration in a way. So and so that we can just from the ground up we can protect all of the different surfaces properly, right? So we focus heavily on preparation, using the right materials, the right systems to achieve, the greatest result in the end. So in that final curb appeal that a lot of homeowners are looking for. So,
so if I got you right there, the biggest challenge that you're facing right now is just the awareness, the education with homeowners to understand that how important it is to have this done and have it done properly for, again, like you said, for home value and just for longevity of the property. That you found that's been challenging for you, and you get a lot of resistance from people in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, and I get it, right? I mean, usually customers are looking for like the most, what's it going to cost, right? So what's the least?
What's it going to cost? What's the wrong way to look at it. Yeah.
happen. So you'll see that a lot. So I mean, and we could always do, we try to come up with different alternatives for them because we get it as well. So we provide, the good, the better, and the best type of situation package for them so that they have options too, because it's a matter of having options too, depending on every situation, right? So, but, what we try to concentrate the most on is just, trying to go after for those type of projects where they don't really mind just going from maybe the good package to the better packages, because in the end you're going to get a return on your investment, right? So there's some cost savings in one of the different levels there, but if you are actually willing to just kind of put more on the front end, more than likely you're going to be able to take advantage of the differences there.
Yeah, you mentioned cost. And like, this is what I alluded to earlier about trying to make sure you could find a trusted network of referral sources for businesses that you can trust, that when they give you a quote for a job, you do not need to negotiate. Like, I don't want to be in a position with a contractor or somebody performing a service where they quote me a specific a quote for a job, and then I try to massage the price down from there to the point where you get it down so low that now they're thinking about, oh, well, I got to control costs a little bit more. Maybe I need to cut a little corner here or there, like subconsciously, things like that. Like, I want to work with somebody that I trust enough to give me a price. Like, all right, that's reasonable. I trust you. I think this is fair, and just do your thing. And I think the work will shine better that way. Unfortunately, so many people are trying to constantly negotiate. And I think the reason for that is because they don't trust the service providers and they don't know them. And then they come out and they get like 3 or whatever it is, right? I've done that. Comment below if you've done this before. You need like a plumber, and then you call 3 or 4 different service providers to come out, and then like you have all these quotes and they tell you different things, and now you're like doing research to try to figure out what the best option is. You don't know what you're doing, and you end up going with somebody because you maybe like them a little bit better, or they were a little bit less expensive. It's just such an unnecessary use of time, right? It's so much easier to just go to somebody you trust. That's one of the reasons why we do this show. I think that by having these owners on the show and talk a little bit about what they do behind the scenes and have these open and honest conversations, we can kind of hopefully deliver something to the consumer where they also feel comfortable. And that way, when you show up at the house to do a job, maybe they feel like they already know you.
Absolutely. And that's a great point, actually, Jeremy. So it's exactly like that too. So, and I'm a consumer myself, right? So, and sometimes we assume a lot of different things before we actually get to meet, with the actual subcontractor or the provider of the service. So, and that's some of the misconceptions that maybe we find in the different industries and services out there. Like even myself, when I'm an actual customer, right? So looking for some services, like in painting in particular, maybe one of the biggest misconception is that all painting jobs are kind of basically the same, right? So a lot of people, they just think, well, it's just about maybe putting, a coat of paint on the walls and
splash it up against the wall. Won't be, just throw it up there. You're good. Won't be a problem.
Yeah, just changing the colors or something. But it's and that's part of it, right? So, but the reality is, I would say even 70 to 80% of the good quality paint job is all about the preparation, what goes into it, the things that, like making sure that if you are, let's say, dealing with an exterior painting work, right? So more than likely here in South Florida, we're dealing with stuccos and stucco cracks, and so you don't really want to just be painting cracked stucco, right? So you may want to be sure, since we're going to be doing that, so maybe we want to take care of that and repair the surface properly, so that we're, if we're going to do that, then we've got to make sure that we're also protecting all of the nearby areas that we're not really going to be working on, like, to protect them from overspray. So using the correct products now that we're going to be working on that particular area. So we want to make sure that we're not just using any kind of paints, like, but that's something else that I find across. A lot of people, they just say, I already got the paint. So what kind of paint did you guys get? So it's, we make sure that we're using the correct paint based on the surfaces that we're going to be working on. So, those are the little things that could make a huge difference, right? So choosing a contractor based on purely on price and, just on the lowest cost, sometimes that's just going to sacrifice and it's going to give somewhere, right? So at the end, it's probably going to be more expensive in the long run, just because, corners are being cut. So cheaper materials might be used, or sort of rush preparations before applying the coats might be happening. So, or improper applications. And then, homeowners are going to have bigger issues to deal with down the road. Our philosophy is just basically try to do it well once and to make it last, right?
Yep. Cheaper is not always better. In fact, I would say that in many cases, cheaper is not better at all. Like you don't want the cheapest option, especially when it comes to this type of stuff, because you're typically going to get what you pay for. That's how it works.
Sure.
So Javier, let our listeners know, for anybody out there that's listening to this, has been staring at their walls for the last 3 years, telling themselves every day, I should really get that done, and just kicking the can down the road like people often do. How could they reach you? What's the best way to find out more information? Let us know how we could connect.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are all over social media, and we are online, obviously. So the best way for listeners to get into contact with us and in touch with us is to visit us on our website, maybe Line Painting /North Miami Florida. Maybe we can add that in the description for our customers and listeners too. But or you can Google us, Line Painting North Miami, and you'll see us right away. You can see examples of all the different projects we've worked on, and as a group as well. So learn about all of the different services that we offer. Could also request free estimate and consultations from us. We provide that to our community. That's basically our activities on a daily basis. Is just going out into the field, meeting customers, and providing what we call free consultations. We also love connecting with homeowners locally. So if you are in North Miami, Pembroke Pines, Miramar, Cooper City, obviously is our background, right? So or any of the surrounding areas, we're happy to come out and evaluate the projects, meet you guys, give our professional recommendations of what might be needed, and provide an estimate for the project itself. So, or even if they just might have some questions here and there of a current project they might be working on or looking into coatings and options and restorations and maintenance and color selections and things of the sort. So we're always available. So happy to help educate homeowners and make our recommendations, so that they can make the best, most informed decision for their projects and their properties.
Beautiful. You hear that, everyone? Javier Hernandez with Line Painting has got you covered. We will, of course, link in the description to all of your contact information, my friends. So anybody out there that's listening that would like to learn more, can get in touch with you. Let us know, for anyone that joined us today for the show, let us know what your biggest takeaway was. We're always interested to hear your feedback, your comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe. You know the drill, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we will catch everyone next time on the next episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Javier, it was a pleasure having you on, brother. Appreciate everything you're doing for the community. Keep at it, keep growing the business, keep working hard, and keep adding value to our residents, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeremy.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, Cooper City. To nominate your favorite local business to be featured on the show, go to gnpcoopercity.com. That's gnpcoopercity.com, or call 954-231-3170.